In this video, you'll discover how to get your first coaching client without a big social media following, complicated funnels, or selling your friends and family. And make sure to stay until the end because I'll share with you the word-for-word script that you can use this week to sign your first client. This is video number 5 of my free online course that teaches you how to start an online coaching business. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Peter Scott. I'm the founder of Fearless Coach Academy, where I have mentored thousands of coaches since 2013 to launch and scale their coaching business. So let's dive right in. Now, first of all, this video is not about DMing people, cold messaging people on Instagram. It's not about building complicated funnels and running ads and setting up email sequences and doing webinars. Even though those things can help, those are not where you want to start if you're a beginning coach. This is a much simpler process. And the step that I'm talking about today is conducting what I call market research interviews. This is one of the most overlooked and neglected things that every coach ignores for some crazy reason, and it's going to be the fastest path to you signing your first client. So what is a market research interview? A market research interview is you going out to your network, to people who already know, like, and trust you. And preferably, these are people that represent who your ideal client is. So let's say, for example, you are an executive coach and you may know some business owners, you may know some executives. And what you want to do is you want to go out to them and you want to say, hey, listen, I have a favor to ask. I've recently decided to launch a coaching business and I want to make it to be as valuable as possible for somebody like you. Would you do me a favor? Would you be open to jumping on a quick call where I can ask you some questions to do some valuable market research? And if these are people who know, like, and trust you, the answer is almost always going to be yes. Now, the beauty of this, especially if you're beginning, is not only do you gain valuable market research, because that's objective number 1. That's goal number 1. But the second goal, and this is kind of the hidden benefit, is that it's very likely that they themselves could be interested in working with you. And if they're not, it's very likely they may know somebody who is. And so this is a great due diligence market research strategy, but it's also a great lead gen and sales strategy at the same time. This doesn't require any complicated tech. You don't need to have a ClickFunnels or a Go High Level account. You don't need to have email software. You don't need to create a bunch of content. It's you looking into your own network, your inner circle, people who know, like, and trust you, and asking for a favor. And in fact, every great business started with this approach. Every great product or service started with market research. Now, if you don't have anyone in your inner circle that you can do this with, then this strategy may not work. But you can use tools like ChatGPT or Jasper, AI tools, to start doing some of this research. But to get your first paying client, this is the best strategy. So let me just give you some of the questions that you could ask. So when you're having this market research interview, one of the first questions you could ask is, what are a few things that you struggle with most on a daily basis as it relates to X? So whatever it is that is the focus of your coaching, you want to ask about that, the context of that problem. So if you're a leadership coach, what is the things that they struggle with on a daily basis when it comes to leading their team, right? That's number 1. Why? Because we pay to solve problems. And so if we don't know our prospects' struggles, then our messaging is not going to attract them and you won't have somebody who wants what you're providing them. But when they see this is solving their most painful problem, don't you believe they're going to be a lot more interested in working with you or referring others? Absolutely. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, what are the biggest fears or frustrations prompting you to look for a solution right now? Right? We want to get into their mindset. We want to get into their psychology. What are the things that they don't want now, and what are they afraid of that could happen out in the distant future, right? We want to be not just moving away from the current problem, but the future problem as well. Let's say that you're a health coach and you're asking somebody why they want to, get healthy. Maybe it's because they want to feel better because they're approaching summer and they want to feel good in that bathing suit. But maybe their ultimate fear is less about a bathing suit and it's more about being around and healthy enough to play with their grandkids one day, right? That's the future fear of a today frustration. So really ask about those fears and frustrations. The third question is with regards to whatever niche you're serving, what's your ideal outcome and how do you think you'll get that, right? How do you think you'll achieve that outcome? What you want to hear is, well, I've tried this and I've tried that and I've tried this and nothing's worked, right? You want to hear that. Or you want to find out this has worked, and that way you kind of know what your competitive landscape is. But here we're focused less on the problem and more focused on the promise of where they want to get to. But you want to know that because that establishes a gap between where they are and where they want to be. The fourth question is, what is the biggest obstacle that's slowing you down or stopping you from achieving this ideal outcome? What's getting in the way? Because if you can frame your coaching as something that removes that obstacle or eradicates it, now there's a lot of perceived value with your coaching. And the final question is more about their dream. So in regards to your health, what's the fantasy that's beyond your wildest dreams, right? If you could wave a magic wand and achieve the ultimate level of health and fitness, what would that look like? Or the ultimate level of passion and romance in your marriage, or the ultimate level of business success and consistent profitability, what would that look like? Now you're getting them to tell you with their own words what their dream is, what their problem and their struggle is. This is the magic of a market research interview. Now, you do not want to neglect this final step because this is the most important. Once you've gathered that market research, then you want to take one of two approaches. One is a direct approach and the other is an indirect approach. A direct approach is being just super direct and saying, hey, listen, it sounds like you're struggling with some of the problems that my whole coaching business focuses on solving. So I'm curious, would you be interested in finding more? Now, you can be bold and you can ask that. Now, you're probably not going to ask that of everyone, right? But you're going to ask that with people that you genuinely feel you could help. The other approach I think is often even better, and that is an indirect approach. And it's saying something like, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. I'm curious, before we wrap up, who do you know that you think could benefit from this? Now that you know about my program, because here's the key. You do want to explain in 1 to 2 minutes who your program is for, the problems you solve, what's included. You don't need to share all the details of pricing, but you want to give them enough information to understand the value of your program. Once you've done that at the very end, then you ask them, I'm curious, who do you know that you think would be a fit? Can you think of somebody right now and make a connection? And here's what could happen. One is they could say, yes, I've got somebody who's a perfect fit in mind. Let me go ahead and make an introduction, which is awesome. You just got a referral. Or they could say, give me some time to think about it, but this actually sounds like it's something that would help us or would help me. And now you just got them interested. Now, when that happens, you do not want to go into pitching them your coaching because you just spent 20 or 30 minutes with them doing market research. It's going to feel like that was your hidden agenda all along. And you don't want to rush that process because you will lose the opportunity to help them. So instead you want to say, okay, great. Well, I don't have the time to cover that today. However, I want to respect your time and mine. Let's sync up our calendars to connect in the next day or two, and we can figure out deeper what you need specific help with and really explore if you're a fit for the program. And now you've created a sales opportunity. And that's the magic of market research. Remember the two benefits. Number one is valuable market research, but number two is actually clients themselves through referrals or through people self-selecting themselves. So that's the fastest path to signing your first client. There's no faster path. You cannot get a client faster than that. In fact, I have so many students of ours that have done that. I've got Neil, who's an Australian business consultant. We taught him this strategy and I think he added 6 figures to his consulting business in 30 days. Now, he was already established and had a following and all that. But even Rachel, a brand new business consultant, we helped her enroll 4 $3,000 coaching clients just from this strategy alone. So go ahead and implement it. And as I promised, if you want the word for word script, the exact questions to ask, just click the link in the description below to download it for free. Now, before I wrap up this video, I've got a favor to ask you, and that is subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Now, you may have, but if you haven't and you found this to be valuable, then click subscribe right now, like the video so that the algorithm can push it out to more coaches. I can help more people. And once you've subscribed, make sure to check out my next video in this free online course, which is how to create a lead magnet. Click up here, watch this video, and I'll see you in the next training.